Hey everyone, it's Rich here. Haven't done a video in a while, figured I'd do a video, try to pack as much information into it as I can. We'll start with these peppers right here. This is a strain called Rajah Macedonian. And as you can see, these three are all very different, and they all come from the same plant. And see, this one here, I wasn't using a fan for a bit, and the petal formed and never got knocked off the flower for whatever reason, normally rain or wind or bugs or whatever would do it. But it formed, and this fruit right here basically looks like it has a growth on it, but it's totally fine. This one is probably a little closer to the pheno you want. However, you can see there's corking in it. Like some jalapenos will have corking, and that's kind of like a rind, and that's where a lot of the flavor of the fruit is going to be in. So people who are after peppers for drying or paprikas, they're going to want varieties that have some corking in them. See, this one is a little smaller, but this one has some nice corking in it, and that's where a lot of the pepper flavor is going to come from, is in that rind there. There's nothing wrong with them, and the strains actually do that. That's a natural part of the variance of the variety of the pepper. But you see, this one's a little smaller, this one's a little bigger with less corking, and this one is just all kinds of crazy looking. They all come from the same plant. Now, normally in like a produce situation, you'd want to sell the ones that look like this, maybe these two. But these right here, you're going to want to dry for grinding into paprikas and things like that. So, you can see this one's got some nice corking. Now, all three of these come from the same plant. Basically, if you took a seed from any of these three plants, assuming that they're pollinated either by itself or the same variety, this isn't going to affect how the next plant is. So you could get seeds from all three of these, and you should be fine, assuming that it hasn't crossbred with another plant that's not the same variety. So that's just a little bit of information. If it has crossbred, you're not going to see any characteristics in the fruit. You're not going to see characteristics of a super hot pepper that crossbred with something else until you grow the seeds that are in here and take the fruit from that plant. So if someone has told you different, or you've believed differently that hybrid plants will create spicy bell peppers, it's true, but not in the way you think. It's because the seed you got was already hybrid. So there's that little bit, and you know, this is actually a pretty good variety. It's got a good kick to it. They're pretty hot, but they're very flavorful too. So I am not going to be culling one of the plants I had of these, so I'm going to save it, and I'll show you what I've got going on. I'm about to clean up my degrading grow tent over here, and I'm going to show you a little bit about what I'm going to be doing. So here we go. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a bit of a mess going on in here, and that's mostly intentional, and also due to me just being lazy sometimes. But it's February. It's about time for me to think about starting some seeds, making room. These were two goat's weed plants that I let dry up and die out completely after they finished fruiting. They fruited for months and months and months. And these are what I was taking and feeding to the parrot, you know, source of fresh fruit and seed for him every day. Obviously, that's not going to be his main food. There's a parrot pellet blend so he can get all the other nutrients he needs. But, you know, just give him fresh fruit. Good for him, good for me. This here is a wild, and this thing just wants to grow so large, and it's like, as you can see, I haven't taken care of this in a while, but that's what I'm going to be doing today. And these are the Rajah Macedonian plants. And part of the reason why I wanted these to dry up, I always mulch my peppers. But you want them to be dry, and then you can actually use them as a top layer mulch. You know, some people would say, no, don't put that in there, it'll compost and whatnot. It's like, well, you shouldn't really be watering peppers to the point where the soil is getting all nasty anyway. Peppers do not need a lot of water. Um, so, that little table there, that's going to have, you know, my seed trays. I'm starting some stuff. A little slow. Been meaning to do this about a month ago, but it's wintertime and very cold in Alaska, and sometimes you just want to sit down and do nothing most of the time. So summer is when everything really is kicking off. So one of the things I do, I don't use a lot of plastic in my day-to-day life, but sometimes, you know, I'll get a cola or a soda or whatever, but I want to make sure that I'm reusing all the plastic bottles. So what I do is I save, you know, what little bits of plastic bottles that I have, so I can mix up my fertilizers in. So I'll reuse them a bunch of times before I even send them to the recycler. So the more uses we can get out of these plastic things we have, like all of these pots that I use. So, yep, I'm still using two T5 high output fluorescent lights. I also kind of have a little extra with some T12s over here just for a little boost when they're blooming. So I can keep this tent about 85 to 90 degrees when it's shut. So I usually do pretty well. All of these plants, except for this wild one, have been fruiting for 6 months or more. And I'm going to save one of the Rejas. So anyways, if you watched, thanks for watching, and you know, I'm going to be getting my stuff going and send some seeds out to some of you that I talked about. So alright, thanks for watching.